It's not a secret that iOS is one of the safest operating systems available right now, safe to the point that even FBI had troubles trying to break its security. Today we are going to check how the iPhone security works and what are the best settings to protect our iPhones. Of course, from power user perspective. Let's get right into it.
Power user.
Basically, iPhones operate mainly in two modes, before first unlock and after the first unlock. But those two modes differ significantly than just with a lock pictogram. Under the visual representation take place big and complicated encryption of the entire operating system. Before you put passcode to unlock your device, the iPhone stays in mode called before first unlock. It means that almost entire operating system and your data are encrypted with a specific hash algorithm, and without a key, they are useless. Every iPhone generates a unique encrypt algorithm that protects system, its elements, and your data. This algorithm is unique for every device, and even Apple don't know it. What generates on your iPhone stays on your iPhone. You can't get this code out. Furthermore, this algorithm mixes a lot of variables to this encryption, one of which is your unique passcode. That's why you have to make sure that your passcode is sufficient. Length of your passcode is important. If longer it gets, then longer it takes to break it. If you choose 8-digit passcode, make sure that it's not a date. It can be easy to guess or find out. If you set a passcode that is too easy to guess, iPhone is going to let you know with this notification. But the safest option is just setting the password. You can do it by going to Face ID and Passcode, Change Passcode, Passcode Options, Custom Alphanumeric Code. Here, you can set whatever password you want. iPhone also has an option to alert you if your passwords are matching the data leaks databases, but you have to turn it on under password section in settings, called Detect Compromised Password. Apple chips have implemented a separate part for data protection called Secure Enclave Protect. One of its functions is to prevent the brute force method of unlocking the device. It means that with every wrong unlock attempt, it adds additional time to wait for every next attempt. But if the time is not a problem for someone who wants to steal our data, we can make sure that it is never going to happen. Toggling Erase Data option on. After 10 failed unlock attempts, iPhone permanently deletes all encryption keys and the data would be non-reversibly lost. When we put our correct passcode, iPhone switches to the second main mode called After First Unlock. Our keys unlock the encryption to let us normally use our device. In this mode, files are not encrypted to give us access to them, and that's why in this mode our device is vulnerable for various attacks. Let's set next settings to prevent such possibilities. It's obvious that after the first unlock, we don't want to put our long passcode or password every time we unlock our device. Most of us use Touch ID or Face ID to speed up this process. But not all of us are using Face ID right. Make sure that your Requires Attention toggle is switched on. Otherwise, someone could unlock our phone with our face when we are not looking. Face ID shoots thousands infrared lights to measure the texture and shape of our face, and Requires Attention option checks if we are for sure looking in front of our device. Let's stay a moment longer on our lock screen, because the way how our notifications are shown on it, it's really important. The thief doesn't need your Face ID if all of your notifications are shown anyway on your lock screen. So I recommend to set Shown Previous in notification section to When Unlocked. This way, you make sure that only you can see all important PIN codes from applications or SMS. We can also use Face or Touch ID to protect various elements of iOS. For example, our private notes by clicking 3 dots on our note and choosing Lock Note option. Private tabs in our Safari browser by going to Safari section in Settings and toggling on Require Face ID to unlock private browsing option. And hidden and recently deleted photos by toggling on Use Face ID in Photos settings. Now we have to focus on internal settings. Let's start with the Find My app. Find My is an application that allows you to find and manage your device after losing it. To activate it, go to Settings, Your Name, Find My, and toggle Find My iPhone on. With Find My, we can track our lost iPhone thanks to Apple Find My network that uses nearby Apple devices to report its location. Of course, with end-to-end encryption. You don't need a MacBook to do it. You can log into your iCloud profile with Apple ID just from any internet browser. In case you lost your device and you are afraid about your data, you can mark it as lost. Your iPhone would switch then to the before first unlock mode. This way, no one is going to access or manage it, except for you. It's worth to mention that people holding your device can contact and try to convince you to pass them your Apple ID password. Don't do it and be aware of this kind of shady practices. If you are extremely insecure about your data, then you can use Erase Data from Device option. iPhone then deletes all cryptographic keys of your files, and the data is going to be permanently unrestorable. We also have to take care of all options related to tracking and invigilation. The most obvious ones are of course various statistics collected for marketing purposes. Apple collects them to improve their devices and suggest us new products. We have a bunch of them in iOS, so let me speedrun through them. First few we can find in Privacy and Security section and Analytics and Improvements. Here we have to turn all of them off. Yup, if we care about our privacy, there is no excuses. Next, we go back to the Privacy and Security section and open Apple Advertising. Then toggle Personalize Ads off. If it comes to privacy, Siri is the big elephant in the room. Using any voice assistant, you have to be aware that it uses your device microphone all the time, even if you lock your device. It does it because it has to hear your voice in case you want to activate it, but also provides recorded data to Apple. I'm using Siri myself, and even if this feature is not safe for our privacy, we can minimize collected data to the minimum. By going to Siri and search, we can toggle off Show Suggestions to stop Siri sending informations like location, your searches, and more. Not only Siri tracks us in our iDevice, all of our installed apps also track us as well. Fortunately, iOS has an option to prevent all tracking practices in installed apps. If we head to the Privacy and Security section again and open Tracking tab, we can toggle off Allow apps to request to track option, and you want to get prompts from apps that want to track your activity. Each app that asks for permission to track while this setting is turned off will be treated as if you tapped Ask App Not to Track. Websites can also track your activity, and in Safari we can set another track blocking settings. In Settings, Safari and Advanced, we can find another useful options like Advanced Tracking and Fingerprint Protection. I highly recommend to set it for all browsing to prevent unwanted tracking. Next option is to check for Apple Pay toggle. Websites can check what device you are using, and having this option turned on allows those websites to track this information. I also suggest to turn Privacy Preserving Ad Measurement off. While this option is clicked off, it allows no measures at all, and if we care about them, we can also block all cookies in this section. Going back to regular Safari settings, we have to set Hide IP address to, of course, From Trackers, and toggle Prevent Cross-Site Tracking on. Not only websites but also mails can track you. It's possible to attach image 1x1 pixel size to the mail and get notified if someone opened the mail or not. To prevent this technique, it's good to toggle on the Protect Mail activity in Mail Privacy Protection settings. This option downloads the remote content in the background instead of the content downloading when the email is open. Thanks to this solution, iPhone can hide your IP address. Together with data collecting comes, of course, access to your location. And here we have again a bunch of interesting aspects to talk. Most important one is to turn Significant Location off. This option collects your location data to determine your most visited places. It can recognize your home, work, place, school, and more. It's also well hidden. To access it, you have to go to the Privacy Settings, Location Services, System Services, and finally, you're able to turn it off. Significant locations are end-to-end encrypted, but I literally don't see any reason Why your device should know your most visited places. We all know well ourselves what places we are visiting, and we don't need to risk potentially leaking this data. Going back to location services, let's make sure that every one of our app has appropriate rights to our location. If we know that application doesn't need our location, we can change its permissions to never. If we don't want an app to continuously track our location, we can change it to while using the app. Our location can also be tracked when we connect to the public Wi-Fi access point, for example Starbucks or McDonald's. To prevent it, make sure that you have toggled Provide Wi-Fi addresses in Wi-Fi settings under the Information tab. This option is going to generate a new unique MAC address every time you connect to the chosen network. This way, public access point would not recognize that you are connecting again. How about the backups then? It's easy to recover all of our data from an iPhone backup, such as messages, notes, calls, web history, etc. Are iPhone backups encrypted? The answer is yes, but unfortunately not from the start. iPhone does the backups in a unique way, and the word iPhone is not here by any mistake. The whole backupping process happens on our iPhone, and the computer only receives the data. It's constructed this way because, as I mentioned earlier, all the encryption keys are in iPhone's coprocessor. That's why computer only asks our device to do a backup, and the rest happens on our iPhone. Because iPhone is in after first unlock mode when we are doing backup, all of our data is decrypted. So in our interest is to set a strong password to encrypt our backup. We can do it in iTunes by clicking this option before doing the whole operation. Password is set in our iPhone, and even if we use another computer, this password will remain unchanged. Remember to not save this password in Keychain Access app, unless you are sure that this app is protected as well. Also, check if your Mac computer didn't save there your backup password. It can be dangerous if someone could have access to this app and to your backup password as well. Another vulnerability is the fact that iPhone can be backed up even when the device is locked. That's right, even when we lock our device, the port can still exchange data with all trusted before computers. Because giving the trust permission to a computer means that in the background, iPhone exchanges cryptographic keys with this device to mark it as trusted. How to protect our device before this kind of practice? 1. Always remember to encrypt your computer hard drive. 2. Make sure that your iPhone has USB restricted mode turned on. This mode locks any possibility to exchange data via port after 1 hour from the moment you lock it. After 1 hour, the port can only receive power. USB restricted mode is enabled when USB accessories option is turned off. You can uncheck USB accessories in Face ID and passcode settings. Not only the wire data transfer is important, but the wireless as well. That's why I recommend to change the AirDrop receiving option to contacts only, to not risk receiving any suspicious data. But what if we don't use backups? Are our iPhones safe then? The answer is no. Even if you don't use backups, it's good to create a strong password for them, in case someone tries to get your data, making a backup with a previously trusted device. It's also worth to mention that we can immediately lock our port without waiting 1 hour. The easiest method is to hold power button and volume up, and this method turns our iPhone to before first unlock mode immediately. Second option is to turn source mode on. This mode not only restricts our port to not exchange any data, but also deletes some of encryption keys from our iPhone. Okay, but what about iCloud backups? They have to be encrypted, right? Yes, that's right. They are encrypted, but not with our private iPhone encryption keys. They are instead encrypted with Apple encryption keys. That means that Apple has access to all data made with iCloud backup function. But not only iCloud backups can be accessed by Apple, but everything you put on your iCloud drive. Messages, notes, web history, calendar, and more. That's why I suggest to verify what data is exactly held by iCloud. In settings, click your name, iCloud, and show all apps using iCloud. Here, I suggest to turn off all unnecessary apps that use iCloud. You can also download an iCloud report to see what exact information Apple knows about you. To do this, go to privacy.apple.com and request a copy of your data. Don't worry, I put the link in description below. If you still want to use iCloud, you can turn Advanced Data Protection. This function encrypts all of your data, including backups with the end-to-end encryption protocol. This way, even Apple would not have access to your iCloud data. Another thing is your iMessage messages. Despite them being end-to-end encrypted on your device, in comparison to Google RCS standard that is not end-to-end encrypted, if you create iCloud backup without Advanced Data Protection on, Apple can access it, and even have rights to handle them to relevant services if asked to do so. So, turning Advanced Data Protection is highly recommended. To finalize setting our iCloud in the safest possible way, we have to make sure that our Apple ID password is not the same as our mail password that is connected to our Apple ID. If someone knows your email password, then they know one for your Apple ID and can access your data. To further protect our Apple ID account, it's really important to enable two-factor authentication. We can do it by opening our sign-in and security iCloud options in settings and enabling two-factor authentication. You can also generate a recovery key to your Apple ID account for protecting your password. If anyone tries to reset it, Apple would ask for a recovery key to do so. You can set up your Apple ID recovery key again in Sign In and Security option after clicking your name in Settings. Remember to write down your recovery key and keep it in safe place. Our iPhone is now really secure, but how about our SIM card? One of the popular scam technique is the one called SIM swap. The scammer collects victims' data and personal information and then tricks the service provider to switch the victim's mobile number to SIM card on thief's phone. With this method, scammer receives all incoming calls and texts, including various access codes. A good idea is to set a SIM pin. We can do it in mobile service settings, set SIM pin. This provides extra layer of security before SIM swapper attack. And the last, and in my opinion most important thing, always update your device to the latest firmware. System updates provides important security updates that patches any existing vulnerabilities. This, among others, is the main reason why old devices and operating systems are more vulnerable to all sorts of malware and jailbreaking techniques. Being up to date with the newest software update is the best possible way to avoid unwanted security risk, not only with the operating system, but also with all the applications, especially the important ones like a banking app. And that's all for today. If anything changes with iPhone security in the future, I would make an update video. You can also suggest another devices and operating systems to cover from security perspective. Hope that this material turned out to be helpful. Remember to like and subscribe and stay protected. Until next time. And today's sponsor is Power User. Power User is a fantastic YouTube channel about everyday modern technology. You can find their reviews, unboxing, shorts, and of course, a lot of interesting videos. The content is very informative and solid, and you should definitely check it out. Go and subscribe now.